Today you're going to learn about a new concept called a system of equations or systems of equations. A system of equations deals with more than one equation. All right, so two or more. We'll mostly be using two. And what we're trying to do when we solve a system of equations is we want to find out where those two lines cross. All right, so the ordered pair for the point of intersection is the solution. So if we look carefully at this graph on the screen, we've got two lines and they cross at this point. This is where they intersect. And so that point of intersection is our solution, and that happens to be the point -2, 1. And that is the solution of the system of equations. Now, there was some work that went into this. If you looked at example 1, they gave us two lines. You would have had to graph the lines first and see then where they crossed. But that's what we're going to do in the second example. So the second example, we have a similar thing. We're going to solve the system y equals 3x minus 2 and y equals x plus 1 by graphing. So we have two equations, and we're going to graph them and then see where they cross. Now, there's two ways that you can graph these lines. You can use the graphs, and you can come up with an in-out table or a function table by substituting values of x and seeing what you get for y and coming up with a coordinate pair. Let me show you what that would look like. If I had, for y equals 3x minus 2, if I have y equals 3x minus 2, I could come up with a quick table. All right, and for x, I would put something in to my equation. So in essence, instead of x, I'm writing 0. Well, 3 times 0 is 0, and then if I subtract 2, my y value would be minus 2. Now, if I did the same thing for the point 1, if I put 1 into the equation, it would now be 3 times 1, which is 3. Subtract 2 from 3 and you get 1. So now I have two coordinate pairs that I can graph that will show me what this equation is. So I have the point 0, -2, which would be right here. And I have the point 1, 1, which would be right here. Once I have got those 2 points, I can find a line. And I'm going to use blue to keep the color coordination going. And there I have my blue line. Okay? Move that over just a little bit. Okay, so that's our first. That's how we graph an equation, once again, by using a table. Now, the other way that we can use a table, graph a table, is by using the y-intercept and then using the rise and the run of the slope. So if we're looking at the equation y equals x plus 2, we can see that our y-intercept is 1. Now, on the y-axis, here is 1, so that will be one of our points. Now, if we look at the slope is the coefficient of x, which here we don't seem to have any coefficient of x. So that means our slope, or m, is equal to 1. And we can rewrite 1 as a fraction, which would be 1 over 1. And then we can use 1 as our rise and 1 as our run. So rise over 1, we would go up 1 and over 1, and this would be another point. So now I can graph the second line, see if I've got a red one right here, okay? And I go through these 2 points. It's kind of a big line. Maybe we can do something about getting that a little bit smaller. So we have this line, and let me really quick do something to make that line smaller so that it's easier to use, okay? So we have this line, and we're going to try and line it up just right through there, and maybe just down a little bit, okay? And maybe we could do the same thing for this blue line and see if we can. Well, it doesn't look like it's cooperating, so let's just roll with it. All right, so now we have two lines graphed, and remember the solution to this is where these two cross, and it looks like to me that they're crossing right about there. So it looks to be the point maybe 1.5 on the x-axis and about 2.5 on the y-axis. So the point of intersection would be 1.5 and 2.5. And that would be the solution to this system of equations. So once again, we graph the line. We can do that one of two ways. We can do that by creating a table and finding coordinate pairs to graph, or we can do that by using the y-intercept and the rise and the run of the slope. Either way, whatever's more comfortable to you, that's what you're going to do. Once you have graphed the two lines, you see where these two lines intersect, and that is the coordinate pair of the solution. Go ahead and try this very same thing on your own. There are got it problems A and B at the bottom of the page, page 234.